Hello guys, welcome to another video. This one is paper 2-1 of May-June 2017 of AdMath paper 2. Now in this video we are going to be doing all the questions one by one and step by step. Now with that being said, let's move on to question number 1. So here we have to find the equation of a curve which passes through this point and for which dy by dx equal to this value. Okay, so when they ask you to find the equation of a curve, you have to find y. So how do you find y? You have to use these two information. So y is equal to integration of dy by dx. That will be integration of 4x power 3 plus 1 with respect to dx. Now let's do this step by step. So we have to, this will give you 4x power 4 divided by 4 plus x plus c. Simplify. Y will be x power 4 plus x plus c. So now you have to find the value of c by using these 2 points. So this is 2 and 17. This is your x and your y. Replace back in your equation. That will give you 17 here, and x will be 2 power 4 plus 2 plus c. Now we have to make c become the subject of formula to find the value of c, and we have to evaluate the other values. So 17 minus 2 power 4 minus 2, that will give you minus 1. So c is minus 1. So finally, from this we know that y, which is your equation of your curve, has to be x power 4 plus x minus 1. That is your answer for question number 1. Now let's move on to question number 2. So in this question we cannot use a calculator. We have to show every step of our work to show how we get the answer. So part 1, we have to show this multiplied by this plus this can be written in the form of this, where a is an integer. Now what is an integer? An integer is any whole number. Can be it can be minus 2, 1, 2, 0, whole numbers, right? Now let's simplify this. How can we simplify? Let's observe. So first thing we can do here is let's bring this inside. So we can write this as this, 24 times 27, right? And plus 9 over 30 divided by 15. Okay, so let's see what do we have. So 24 times 27, square root of that, it is not exact. So in those cases we have to play with the values, if that makes sense, right? So for example, here we have 24 and 27. So what do you know about these two numbers? Let's write this down. 24, we know it is 4 times 6. And 27, we know this is 3 times 9. So what happens if you apply square root to those two? You will have, for the first one, you will see it will give you 2, 6. This one will give you 3. Yeah, I hope this makes sense, right? Now when you bring this inside, when you take this multiplied by this, so which is this multiplied by this, so 2 root 6 multiplied by 3 root 3, so 1 by 1, 2 times 3 will be 6, and the insides multiplied together will be 6 times 3 will be 18. Now again, what is 18? 18 is 9 times 2, that will be, so we can take the 9 out. Square root of 9 is 3, 3 times 6 will be 18 root 2. So basically this will come down to 18 root 2. Now plus 9, this will be simplified to 2, so root 2. Your answer will be 18 plus 9, that should give you 27 root 2. And this is your answer for part A, where the value of A is an integer, 27. So the main step was this one. We have to simplify this one step by step. We can rewrite this as this, and then we can simplify. The first one will give you this, and this one will give you this, and then you multiply them together, you will have this, and then this can become this, and this will become this. So basically, simplify, you will have this as your answer for part A. Now for part B, we have to solve the equation, this equal to this, giving your answer in terms of this, where B and C are integers. Now solving means to find the value of x. So let's first expand. You will have root 3 plus root 3x equal to 2x minus 6. So let's send all the x to one side. You will have 2x minus root 3x is equal to root 3 plus 6. Factorize 2 minus root 3 is equal to 6 plus root 3. Now we have to find x. X will be equal to 6 plus root 3 divided by 2 minus root 3. So now we have to simplify and express in this form. So you have to multiply by the conjugate of the denominator, which is 2 plus root 3 and 2 plus root 3. Now we'll give you, so for the base you will get 2 square minus root 3 square. On top 1 by 1, 6 times this will be 12 plus, so 6 times 2 is 12 plus 6 root 3, and then plus this 1 times this, 2 root 3 plus 3. So simplify, let's see what happens. On top you will have 12 plus 3 is 15 plus 8 root 3 divided by, this is what value? Let's check. That will be 4 minus 3. That is 1. So you have 1 here. So on top you have 15 plus 8 root 3. That is 1. So you will have 15 plus 8 root 3 as your answer. So let's double check. So this times this will be 12 plus 6. And this time this will be this value. So correct, that should be your answer, where these two values are integers, which is whole numbers. And that will be your question number 2. Let's move on to question number 3. So the variables x and y are such that y equal to this. Now part 1, we have to find dy by dx. So pretty easy. Dy by dx is equal to 1 over the value inside of the ln, that will be x squared plus 1, then multiply by d by dx of the value inside, which is this. That will be 2x over x squared plus 1. That is part 1. Now for part 2, hence means we have to use your value from first part. Find the approximate change in y when x increases from this to this value. So approximate change in y is equal to dy by dx at the value of x equal to the initial value and times the change. So we have to find this value. So what is dy by dx when x is equal to 3? We replace back. You have 2 times 3 will be 3 squared plus 1. That will be 6 over 10. That will be 0.6. Replace back in your equation. That will be 0.68 will be your answer. That is question number 3. Now question number 4. Given that y is equal to 7 cos 10x minus 3. Okay. Now we have the angle x is measured in degrees. Okay, good. State, first one is the period of y. So pretty easy. Whenever you have a cos function, you have to take 360, divide by the value here, and that will be your period, which is 36 degrees. Okay. Now for part 2, the amplitude of y will be the value in front of your cos. That will be 7. Okay, so that will be part A. Now for part B, here we have a curve. As you can see, this is a trigonometric curve. So it tells me that find the equation of the curve shown in the form of this plus c, where g of x is a trigonometric function. Okay, and a, b, and c are integers to be found. So let's try one by one, right? So as we can see here, your value begins from a point here, and then let's see what is the midpoint, right? The midpoint values, if you check, that will be right here. So which means that will be your baseline, if that makes any sense. Your baseline is the line which is like exactly in between your curve. If you observe, this will be the same and the same, which means this is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And this also has to be 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. As you can see, this is called your baseline. So this value is y equal to 7. So this value will be the value here. So right now you know your curve will look something like this. GB of x plus 7. Now we have to find the value of a. A is your amplitude. Amplitude is the height on both sides. As you can see, it is 5 and 5, so the amplitude will be 5. That is 5. And finally, we have to find the value of b. B is the number of cycles in 360 degrees. So let's count. We have 1 cycle, 2 cycle, 3 cycle, and 4 cycle. So b will have to be 4. In that case, you have found the values of a is 5, b is 4, and c is 7. And that is your question number 4. Let's move on to question number 5. Given that a is a constant, and we have to expand this one in ascending powers of x, simplifying each term of your expansion. Now, step by step. So let's do this. So first term will be 4 because the power is 4. 4 choose 0, and here we have 2, and here we have ax. This is 0, this has to be 0. 4 minus 0 is 4, that has to be 4. Second term, 4 choose 1. So the insides will be the same thing, just the powers will be changing. This is 1, has to be 1. 4 minus 1 is 3. Next one, 4 choose 2. That will be 2, and then ax. 2 here, 2, that will be 2. Plus 4 choose 3. 2 ax, that will be 3 here, that will be 3, and that will be 1. And finally, we have 4 choose 4. That will be ax power 4, and then here will be 0. Now we have to simplify one by one. So 4 choose 0 is 1. 2 power 4 should be 32. Let's check. 16 actually. Wow. See, I almost made a mistake. 16. This power 0 should be 1. Plus 4 choose 1 is 4. You can check. 4 choose 1 is 4. 2 power 3 is 8. And this is ax. And then 4 choose 2. 4 choose 2 has to be 6. 2 power 2 is 4, and then that will be a square, x square. And then what is 4 choose 3? That will be 4. And 2 power 1 is 2, and that will be a power 3, x power 3. And finally we have 4 choose 4, that will be 1 times 1 times a power 4, x power 4. So simplify, the first thing will be 16 plus 32 ax plus 24 a square x square plus 8 a cube x cube and plus a power 4 x power 4. That is the expansion of this, and every single term is simplified in the expansion. Now part what do we have now? I say is part 2. Given also that the coefficient of x squared is equal to the coefficient of x cube, show that a is equal to 3. So first, what is the coefficient of x squared? You observe x squared is here, coefficient will be this, is equal to the coefficient of x cube is here, that will be this. So it means that 24a squared is equal to 8a cube. So we have to use this information to find a. So first step, we can divide by a squared on both sides. You will have 24 is equal to 8a. So a will be 24 divided by 8, that will be 3. Or the other way you can do this is you can just send everything to one side, you will have 24a squared minus 8a cubed equal to 0. Next step is to factorize outside. You will have 8 outside, a squared outside, you will have 3 minus a on the inside. So one value could be this equal to 0, or 3 minus a 0. So a will be 3. That will be your answer, shown as required. Show is this one. This one will be 0, but you cannot take the value because a will not be 0 in this question. So show, so shown as required. Now for part 3, we have use your expansion to show the value of this is equal to this, correct to one decimal place. So now you have to observe how can you find this, right? So let's see. So our expansion was 2 plus 3x power 4, and here we want to find 1.97 power 4. So the inside has to be the same because they're the same powers. So let's compare. On the inside we have 2 plus 3x has to equal to this one. Let's find the value of x. X will be 1.97 minus 2. That will be minus 0.03. X has to be minus 0.01. So now you have to basically put this value, use my expansion, put this value back in my expansion to find that value. Okay, so let's do that. You will have 16 plus 32 times a. What is that? So 32 times 3, that will be 96. X plus 24 times a squared, that will be 216 x squared, plus 8 times 3 cubed, that will be 216 again. Let me try again. So that should be the answer, correct? 216 x power 3, and plus a power 4 will be 81 x power 4. So basically that was my expansion from part 1. I just replace the value of a and get the real expansion. Now I know the value of x has to be equal to this value for this expansion. So let's do that. You will have 16 plus 96 minus 0.01 plus 216 minus 0.01 square plus 216 minus 0.01 cube plus 81 times minus 0.01 power 4. Let's find the values. 16 plus 96 times minus 0.01 plus 216 times minus 0.01 square plus 216 times minus 0.01 power 3 plus 81 times minus 0.01 power 4. That will be 15.06138. So your answer correct to one decimal place have to be 15.1. This is shown as required. That is your question number 5. Let's move on to question number 6. So here we have 4 cinemas, P, Q, R, and S. Each sells adult, student, and child tickets. Okay, 3 kinds of tickets. The number of tickets sold by each cinema on one weekday are: P is adult, so P is the first cinema, so 90 adults, 10 students, and 30 child. Q sell 45 students, R is 25 adult and 15 child, S is 10 adult and 100 child. Okay, that is the number of tickets sold over the weekday, on one weekday, for each of those cinemas. Now part 1. Given that L is equal to the matrix 1, 1, 1, 1, construct a matrix M of the number of tickets sold such that the matrix product LM can be found. So let's see. So M should be what? M should be the number of tickets sold. So let's see, how would you write, how can you write M? Because L is a, what is the order of this matrix? you will look at the number of rows and columns. So we have 1 row and 4 columns. You would say the matrix is a 1 by 4 matrix. Now, a 1 by 4 matrix can only be multiplied by a 4 by something matrix. I hope that makes sense, because these two have to be the same for matrix multiplication to be possible. So this we don't know yet, that's okay, but these two have to be the same for it to be possible, which means M have to have 4 rows for it to be possible. So here you go. So we have to construct M. So M has to have 4 rows. So as you can see here, has to be, we have to put adult here, student, and child. And here we have to put cinema P, Q, R, and S. By doing this, we will have 4 rows, and only then we can find the product LM. Okay, so P will be 90, 10, and 30. This will be 0, 45, and 0. This will be 25, 15, and 0. This will be 10, 0, and 100. That will be your matrix M in this form, where we can multiply L to M. Okay, that is the answer for part 1. Now for part 2, we have to find the product now itself. So let's do this. L is 1, 1, 1, 1, multiplied by M is 90, 10, 30, 0, 25, 10, 45, 0, 0, 15, 0, 100. So let's find the product. So rows by column, that will be 1 times 90 plus 0 plus, so basically we just have to add everything in the columns. So you will have here 90, this, that will give you 90 plus 25 plus 10, that will be 125. 10 plus 45 is 55, and this will give you 145. This is the number of tickets sold for adult, student, and child. Okay, now part 1, it says state what information is represented by the matrix LM. So you can see that it gives you the number of tickets sold for adult, students, and child for all the cinemas. Okay, so we know that A was 125, student was 55, and child was 145 by doing this multiplication. Now let's move on. It says an adult ticket was $5, a student ticket cost $4, and a child cost $3. Now we have to construct a matrix N of the costs such that the matrix product LMN can be found. Now as you can see, LM is what kind of matrix? What is the order? It is a 1 by 3 matrix. Now what kind of matrix N has to be? As observed, it has to be a 3 by something, we don't know, but it needs to be 3 rows matrix so that matrix multiplication can be possible. So let's do this. So you say this and state what information will be represented. So pretty easy, construct N. So N has to be in the form of this, 3 rows, N, so has to be the price of ticket, that will be 5, 4, and 3. So only then we can do rows by column. This is your matrix N, and this will give you the total, so the product LMN will represent the total sales revenue for all the cinemas on that day. So it gives you everything, right? Every sales, every revenue on that day. Okay, so that will be your answer for question number 6. Let's move on to question number 7. So on each of the Venn diagram we have below, shade the region which represents the given set. So for the first one, we have x intersecting y prime. So y prime means outside of y. So outside of y and x, that should be only x but not y. Okay, so that will be your answer for the first one. And for this one, let's have a look. We have p prime, so outside of p, intersecting q intersecting r. So basically everything outside of p intersecting these two will be this one as your answer. Now for part B, in a group of students, each student studies at most 2 of art, music and design. Okay, no students studies both music and design. Okay, so this is interesting. So we have a group, we don't know how many students there are right now. We know that each student studied at most 2. So at most 2, it is less or equal to 2 of these subjects. Okay, now no student studies both music and design. Okay, so that is not possible. So basically, that if that is M, that is design, and that is art, we know that number of students, which is music and design, has to be 0. That's what it says from this line. Now A denotes the set of students who study art, M denotes the one who study music, and D for design. Now part 1, write the following information using set notations. No student study both music and design. So as you can see here, music and design will be 0. That is the first one. Now, or you can write this as M and D is equal to your empty set as well. Okay, now we have the questions following up. There are 100 students in the group, that is everything together, it is 100. 39 students study art, 45 study music, and 36 study design. Okay, now 12 students study both art and music, that is art intersecting M. 25 study both art and design, so art intersecting design. Okay, so now we have to complete the Venn diagram below to represent this information, and hence find the number of students who do not study any of these subjects, so everything outside of the group. So one by one, so we know that it is A will touch with the other group, which is M, and D. This is D, but D will not touch with M because of this information here. Okay, so now we know 12 students study both art and music, so 12 is here, and 25 study both art and design. Now we have to find how many study only art, so we have to take this one, 39 minus 12 minus 25, that is 2 studies only art. But according to the question, it is possible. Yep, it is possible, because at most 2 means it can be 0, 1 or 2. Okay, so it is possible. That is good to know. Now what else? We have 45 study music, it's M here. Now how many study only music? Minus 12, that will be 33. And finally 36 study design, so only design will be 36 minus 25, that will be 11. So now we need to find what is the number of students who does not study any of those? So pretty easy. 100 minus 33 minus 12 minus 2 minus 25 minus 11. That will be 17. So your answer will be 17 who does not study any of these subjects. That will be your question number 7. Now let's move on to question number 8. So here we have a football club that has 30 players. Okay. Now, in how many different ways can a captain and a vice captain be selected from these players? Okay. So pretty easy. So at first, when you have to select a captain, you can select from those 30 players. So 30, choose one captain. And then when you're going to select your vice captain, so n, we will have 29 remaining, selecting your vice captain. So 30 choose 1 times 29 choose 1. Sorry, 30 choose 1 times 29 choose 1. That should give you 870 as your answer. That is part A. Now for part B, a team of 11 teachers is to be chosen from 2 math teachers. So we have 11 teachers in total, has to be chosen from 2 math teachers, 5 computing teachers, and 9 science teachers. So find the number of different teams that can be chosen if, the first condition, the team must have exactly 1 math teacher. So pretty easy. So let's run out every group. We have 2 math, we have 5 computing, and 9 science. And we need to choose 11 people from that group. So only one condition here, it is we have need to want exactly 1 math teacher. So from the 2 math teacher, we choose only 1. And then from the remaining people, which is 5 plus 9 is 14, we can choose the remaining 10 teachers. So 2 choose 1 times 14 choose 10. That will be 2002 ways. Now for part 2, the team must have exactly 1 math teacher and at least 4 computing teachers. So let's see what are the possible combinations. So we have 2 math, we have 5 computing, and 9 science. So now we need to choose 11 teachers to form the group, right? Now we need to have at least exactly 1, so that will be 1. At least means more or equal to 4, which is, it can be 4. And so 1 plus 4 is 5. So this has to be 7 to get, So 5, so 11 minus 5 should be 6, not 7. So we have to choose 6 science if we choose this combination. Now, we can still choose 1 here. We can choose all 5, and then we can choose 5 here as well. So these are the only combination that is possible. So we can have 1 math teacher, at least 4, meaning 4 or 5 computer teachers, and the rest will be science teachers. So first one is 2 choose 1 times 5 choose 4 times 9 choose 6. That will be 840. Now for this one, that will be again 2 choose 1 times 5 choose 5 and 9 choose 5. 2 choose 1 times 5 choose 5 times 9 choose 5. That will be 252. So everything together, we have to add them up. It will be 1092. And that will be your answer for question number 8. Let's move on to question number 9. We have a curve given by this equation, and the line of y intersect at 2 points A and B. The first question is to find the points A and B. So how do you find points of intersection? You have to solve your simultaneous equations. So here we have y, have to replace back in your equation. So you will have 3x squared plus xy. Y is 2 minus 2x, right? That is 2 minus 2x. And then minus y squared is 2 minus 2x squared plus 4 times y, 2 minus 2x, and minus 3 equal to 0. Now we have to solve the equation for the values of x. So one by one we have to expand. That will become 3x squared plus 2x minus 2x squared minus, that will be 4 minus, so 2 times this, that will be 8x, and then plus 4x squared. And then plus 8 minus 8x minus 3 is 0. So now you have to start simplifying. So 3 minus 2, that will be x squared. 2x minus 8x, that will be minus 6x. That will be plus 5 minus 4, expand, plus 8x minus 4x squared is 0. Now keep simplifying one by one. X squared minus 4x squared, that will be minus 3x squared. Minus 6 plus 8 will be plus 2x. 5 minus 4 is plus 1, equal to 0. Now let's change the sign. Let's send everything to the other side. You will have 3x squared minus 2x minus 1 equal to 0. Now we can factorize to find the values of x. 3x squared is 3x times x. 1 is 1 times 1. Now to get minus 2, we have to have minus 3 plus 1. Okay, so you have 3x plus 1 is equal to 0, or x minus 1 is equal to 0. So x have to be minus 1 over 3, x have to be 1. So we have 2 points. Now we have to find the corresponding y value. So as above you see y is equal to 2 minus 2x. So y will be 2 minus 2 times minus 1 over 3. That will be 2 plus 2 over 3. Now simplify. That will be 8 over 3. Now for this one, that will be 2 minus 2, 1. That will be 2 minus 2, that will be 0. So your 2 points will be, the point A has to be the first one, which is this one, that is minus 1 over 3, and 8 over 3, and your point B will be 1, 0. Okay, so that will be your question part 1 of 9. Now for part 2, we have to find the equation of the perpendicular bisector of the line AB, giving your answer in this form. Now, so basically what do you need to find? You have to understand, we have a line AB, let's say they are in this direction, for example, A and B. So what is the perpendicular bisector? It is a line going through AB at the midpoints at 90 degrees. This is the point M, which is the midpoint of AB, at the angle of 90 degrees. So one by one, let's first find the point M. M is the midpoint of AB, can be found by using your formula, which is x1 plus x2 divided by 2. That will be, so let's try, minus 1 over 3 plus 1 divided by 2. That will be 1 over 3. And same thing, 8 over 3 plus 0 divided by 2. That will be 1 over 3, that is 4 over 3. That is your point M. Okay, now we have to find the gradient of AB first, because you need to find the, let's call this one P. To find the gradient of P, we have to first find the gradient of AB. Okay, so AB will be using your formula, which is y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. So 0 minus 8 over 3 divided by 1 minus 1 over 3. That will be minus 2. So from this you can derive that the gradient of the line, this line has to be 1 over 2. Because of something, because we know that the gradient of AB multiplied by the gradient of the perpendicular bisector have to give you minus 1. That's something you need to know. Because of that, we can replace this here. If this is minus 2 times MP, that will be minus 1. So MP have to be 1 over 2. That's why we know this is 1 over 2. And now to find the equation, we just have to use the passing point, which is this point. So this is your x value and your y value. So you take y minus 4 over 3 over x minus 1 over 3 is equal to 1 over 2. That will give you cross multiply. You have y minus 8 over 3 equal to x minus 1 over 3. So next step is if you want to eliminate the denominator, you have to multiply by 3 everywhere. You will have 3y minus 8 is equal to 3x minus 1. Now we have to send everything to one side. You will have 3x minus 3y, and that will be plus 7, or so equal to 0, but we have to do this and this. So it has to be 3x minus 3y equal to minus 7. So that will be your answer for question number 9. Now let's move on to question number 10. The table shows the values of t and p. Okay, you can see we have two set of values. Now part 1, we have to draw the graph of ln p against t. So let's first find the value of ln p. So ln of 4.39, that will be 1.48. Ln of 8.33, that will be 2.12. And then ln of 15.8, that will be 2.76. And ln of 30, that will be 3.40. Okay, so now we have to plot the graph. So the first point will be 1.48. So 1 is here, 1.48 will be somewhere about here. And then we have 1.5, 2.12, 1.5. 2.12 should be somewhere around here. Then we have 2 will be 2.76, 76, somewhere about here. And then we have 2.5 will be 3.40, should be somewhere about here. Okay, that will be your points. Now we have to join them together to form your straight line. So here we go, and that is the line that we get. That is for part 1. Now using your graph to estimate the value of p when t equal to 2.2. So go to your graph. T is 2.2 will be where? 2.1, 2.2 will be right here. So we have to draw a vertical line and connect to your line, and then find the corresponding value on the y-axis. So you can see with this value, you have value of ln p is 3. So here you have ln p is 3, which means p has to be exponential 3. That will be 20.1. That is your answer for p using your graph. Okay, you have to show your work of how did you find the value on your graph. Now for part 3, we have to find the gradient of the graph and state the coordinates of the points where the graph meets the vertical axis. So to find the gradient, you have to use a point on the graph, right? As you guys know already, we have to always find 2 points on the graph to find the gradient. So for example, let's say we use, we can use any points that you want. You can choose the points that you already have, or you can choose new points. It is up to you. So let me just choose the points that we have already. I can choose 1, and then I can choose 1 and then 1.48, or I can choose, and then I can choose 2 and 2.76. These are the points that we have already, but if you want to, you can choose new points on the graph as well. Should be the same procedure. Now to find the gradient, you use your formula, which is y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. So 2.76 minus 1.48 divided by 1 should be the same value. So your value will be 1.28 for your value of your gradient. Now we have to find the point, state the coordinates of the point where the graph meets the vertical axis. As you can see, this point is 0.25 according to my graph. So the point that I can see is 0 and 0.25. Now yours may be different depending on your graph, so you have to mention the one that you have. Now part 4, using your answers to part 3, show that this where a, b are constants to be found. So we have to show p is equal to this. So we have to use this information. Okay, so as you can see here, we have to form an equation. We have the gradient, we have the passing point, we can find this, right? Now basically we have to use this information here. This is your this is basically your y-axis and your x-axis. When I ask you to find the creation of a straight line, what do you usually do? You first find the gradient, which you have already, and you find the passing point, which you also have already. So let's do that. So I will let me just use this point. That will be my x. So x here is t, so that will be my t, and y here it is ln of p. So I will use that. So I will say ln of p minus 0.25 over x minus 0 is equal to my gradient, which is 1.28 over 1. Now cross multiply, that should give me ln of p minus 0.28 equal to 1.8 x. Now ln of p is equal to 1.28 x plus 0.25. Now if I want to simplify, so I have to show this. So how can I make this become like this? So making p become the subject, you will have exponential 1.28x plus 0.25. But now you can break this down if you want to. So let me write this down here. I need some space, so I will do this here. So right now I have p is equal to exponential 1.28x plus 0.25. Now I can break this down into two parts. So p will be exponential 1.28x plus become multiply exponential 0.25. So basically it is the same as saying we have, so here, oh sorry, because here we don't have x, actually it is t, not x. So it is t, that will be t. So that should be t, not x. That will be t and t, not x. So here you will have t here and t here. So now you can evaluate this if you want to. Let's evaluate this. You will have exponential 0.25, that will be 1.28, and then exponential 1.28 power t. So we can evaluate this as well, this value. So 1 point exponential 1.28 is 3.60. So p could be 1.28 times 3.60 power t. So that will be your value for your equation. P equal to this, p equal to ab power t, where a and b are constants to be found. So basically step by step you have to solve to find something in this form. Now part 5 we have, given that your equation to part 4 is valid for values of t up to 10, okay? Now find the smallest value of t correct to one decimal place of t correct to one decimal place for which p is at least 10,000. At least meaning more or equal to 1,000, not 10,000. So let's replace back in your equation. You will have this. So 1.28 times 3.60 power t has to be at least 1,000. So according to this equation, right? Now let's do that. Let's see what happens. So divide 1,000 divided by 1.28. You will have this value. So you have 3.60 t more than 781.25. You have to take ln of both sides. You will have t here is more than ln of this 0.25 divided by ln of 3.6. So ln of answer divided by ln of 3.6. That will give you 5.2. It says find the smallest value of t. T correct to one decimal place will be this one, for which this one is at least this value. Okay, so you have the value here. T will be at least 5.2, for this is true. That will be your question number 10. Now let's move on to question number 11. So we have to prove the left hand side become the right hand side. So let's do this step by step. The first thing, let's simplify this. So what is cot x? So you guys must know by now, cot x is cos x divided by sin x. Now what is tan x? Tan x is sin x divided by cos x. So we have to do cot x plus tan x. That will be cos x over sin x plus sin x over cos x. Now simplify. We have to make it become the same base. You will have sin x cos x. Then we have to multiply, cross multiply. You will have cos square x plus sin square x. Now simplify again. That will give you 1 over sin x and cos x. Now let's replace this value back in the main equation. So you will have sin x multiply by 1 over sin x times cos x. Now this will cancel out, so you will have 1 over cos x, which is equal to sec x. This is shown as required for part 1. Now for part 2, hence we have to solve this equation. Hence mean we have to use the values from part 1 to solve this equation. So one by one, we know this is simply equal to sec x modulus is equal to 2. So here we have two possible values. So when you have modulus, you can take two values, right? It can be 2 or it can be minus 2. So what is sec x? You know it is 1 over cos. So cos x will be 1 over 2. Cos x will be minus 1 over 2. Now when cos is positive, you guys know already, has to be in your first quadrant and your fourth quadrant. This is your value of theta. This is 360 minus theta. So x here, whenever it's positive, we can do it directly. X will be cos inverse of half. That will be your value of 60 degrees, but also 300 degrees in the fourth quadrant. That is the two values we have. Now for this one, whenever it is negative, we first have to use the value of theta as cos inverse of the positive value. That will give you 60 degrees. So you have to know, when cos is negative, it is in your second quadrant and your third quadrant. This is 180 minus theta, and this is 180 plus theta. So here you go. So in this case, x have to equal to, according to your quadrants, 180 minus theta is 120, and plus that should be 240. So your answers for the values of x will be the four values: 60, 120, 240, and 300. That will be your values of x. Now this is your question number 11. Let's move on to question number 12. A particle moves in a straight line so that t seconds after passing a point O, its displacement s is given by this formula. Now part 1, find the distance traveled between the particles first to position of rest. So let's find out. Let's find out when it is at rest. You know, at rest, the value of b has to be 0. So let's first find v. V is equal to ds by dt. That will be 0 plus 3. That will be minus, become, so differentiation of cos, that should be minus sine 5t times 5. So that will give you 3 plus 5 sine 5t. That is v, and equate to 0 because we need to find the point where it is at rest. So you have 5 sine 5t is equal to minus 3. So sine 5t has to equal to minus 3 over 5. Now when sine is positive, you guys know it is in your third quadrant and your fourth quadrant. So here, because it is negative, we have to use theta. So that will be, this is pi plus theta. This is 2 pi minus theta. So first, let's use the value of theta. Theta will be sine inverse of the positive value of this. Here we have to use radians. Sine inverse of the positive value of 3/5, that should give you 0.644. Now we can find the value of 5t now according to the quadrants. First one is pi plus theta. So pi plus 0.644, that will be 3.79. And then 2 pi minus theta, that should be 5.64. Now t will be 3.79 divided by 5. That will be 0.758. 5.64 divided by 5, that will be 1.128. So these are the two times where it is at rest according to the equation. Now we want to find the distance between the particles when it is at rest. So pretty easy. We want to find the distance traveled when t equal to 0.758 and 1.128. We want to find this distance. So one by one, let's find the displacement at this time. So when s at t equal to 0.758. So let's do that. So s was given to you already by this formula. 1 plus 3 times 0.758 minus cos 5 times 0.758. That will be 4.071. Now for this one, s when time equal to 1.128, replace the values. That will be 1 plus 3 times 1.128 minus cos times 5 times 1.128. That will give you 3.584. Now distance travel is the difference between those two. So 4.071 minus answer, that will be, your answer will be 0.487 meters for the distance travel between those two times. Now for part 2, we have to find the acceleration when time equal to pi. As you guys already, acceleration is equal to dv by dt. Since v is given by 3 plus 5 sine 5t, differentiate this value will give you 0 plus 5, that will be cos 5t times 5. That will give you 25 cos 5t equal to a. Now we have to find the value of a when time equal to pi. So 25 cos 5 pi. 25 cos 5 pi. That will give you minus 25. So minus 25 meters per second square will be your acceleration at this value of time. And that will be your last question of this paper. This is question number 12. As always, I hope that was somewhat helpful, and thank you for watching. I will see you soon.